Hi, I'm Minnie Dora Haynes, and obviously I'm present.
Orlando Navarro, present.
Erasmo Villarreal, present.
Lalo Uribe, present.
Fred Villarreal, present.
We have counsel here.
Yes, Jaime Garcia, J. Cruz and Associates.
Okay, first order of business. Did anyone sign up for public comments? Thank you. Okay, then action items. Discuss and possible actions to recommend to the Board of Trustees approval of RFP 04-2019 network equipment and cabling for 8800 McPherson Elias Herrera Middle School.
That is tab A.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, committee. We have the following bid for your approval. The recommended vendor is as follows. Section 1 data cabling to M1 Networks for $334,655.16. Section 2 networking to Solid IT Networks, $278,796.50. Section 3 streaming video to NetSync for $13,053.69. Section 4 the telephones to Insight Public Sector for $26,951.25. And Section 5 the IP paging to Insight Public Sector for $172,197.14. Total project is $825,653.74.
Under the budgetary information, I believe this was a scheduled bond project.
Yes, sir.
So it's not really bond interest proceeds. These are actually bond funds that we'll be using to fund this. It was an approved project way back when, so it's not bond interest proceeds. We'll change that before it goes to the board.
Is there, Mr. Zuniga, any other than the, so that we can justify this as IT stuff or media stuff, is there any other additions, changes, recommendations for that campus? Because I know, what's the plan on that one, to put it up for next school year?
That's correct. We're scheduling to open this up August of 2020.
2020.
Right, and as a matter of fact, the next item we're going to discuss is something else that.
Oh, it's for that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We are recabling the entire campus. We're gonna recable it with the new cable.
Because we're only assuming that the infrastructure that's there is 15
Yes.
years old or
It's
more.
very, very old. The PA system is almost 30 years old. The cable that are there, we have 3 different types of cables, and we have gone over the years.
Okay.
And it's very old, so it needs to be redone from scratch.
And this is equipment, software that is being the standard at other schools?
Yes, yes, sir, definitely. It's pretty much based on the blueprints of our other middle schools, same standards.
Very nice.
Does
Madam
Does the
Chair,
committee have any other questions?
if there are no other questions, I'd like to recommend the approval of RFP 040-2019, network equipment and cabling for what is described here as 8800 McPherson to the vendors that are listed below there, for a total of $825,653.74.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just to be clarified, to clear, Mr. Zuniga, this is not interest income, it's
It'll be bond proceeds, but it's
And
not
it'll be
interest.
corrected.
It's not interest proceeds.
Okay, and because there is a communication here that does say interest proceeds.
Yes, sir. That's why
That will be
I brought
corrected.
it forward.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Next item, discussion and possible action to recommend to the Board of Trustees approval of JOC 015-2019, 8800 McPherson Road Middle School building renovations.
Yes, for this JOC, since it's over 500,000, we need a board approval, and since we're asking to use bond interest proceeds, we're asking for your recommendation to take it to the board. The recommended vendor is going to be American Contracting and Roofing, and the contract amount is $612,000.
Now, that does contain a $50,000 contingency, so hopefully we won't have to use that. But Nacho, could you do me a favor and describe the type of work that American Contractor will be doing if this is approved?
Good evening. Some of the scope of work that would be included in this project would be, we have different areas of the campus that we have identified in Building C, which would be the science wing. We have to clean and prep and paint all the walls in the classrooms and the hallways, clean and prep and paint window frames in all classrooms, demolish the existing VCT and replace with new VCT, flooring in the entire building, add code base. So those are a few items among another 10 items in that area. We have in the gymnasium, for example, to paint all the interior walls at the gym building, the walls, locker rooms, coaches' offices, classrooms, etc. Clean and prep the locker rooms, the concrete floors. So those are some other areas that, or scope of work that we're gonna do in that area. And then in the administration building, we're gonna paint the walls, doors, administrative office area, strip old paint to original surface before applying the new paint to the walls. In the kitchen office, replace the VCT and vinyl coat base and paint the walls. On the exterior part of the building, we're to clean and paint the exterior walkways, the archways, arches and all exterior benches, paint courtyard retaining walls and ramp rails between academics buildings and the library, power wash and seal all cracks of exterior brick facade. Parking lot, we're to seal and stripe the parking lot, including the curbs and parking media to be painted. In buildings A, B, and C, as we have identified in the classroom buildings, we're to provide and install mini blinds for all the windows. We're to provide a dumpsters, well, these are other services, but that's pretty much some of the general idea of the type of upgrades that are going to be done to the project.
And this is interest proceeds.
That's correct. We're asking that it be funded out of the interest proceeds. We brought an item to the committee last month, I believe it was, for the roofing at 8800 McPherson, excuse me. And we asked that be funded through interest proceeds. We'd like this JOC to also be funded through interest proceeds. We do have some unallocated interest that we could use to fund this, enough to cover it. Mr. Gutierrez and his staff tried to get to these items, but it's become such a massive task now that in crunch time, we just don't have the time and the manpower to address this at this point. And so with only eight months left to opening of the school,
Wow.
which means we have to start furnishing it by June or July, it's really tight.
And the last one that was brought to proposal was also American Contracting and Roofing, wasn't it?
That's correct. That's correct.
Are they local?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe for this JOC, there were two proposals, I believe. Three, I should say. There was three of them. It was American Contracting, Line Decker, and Quantum. And American Contracting came in the lowest.
Well, their voluntary reduction of 1620 was nice, but 600,000 even would have been better.
Trust me, we try. We always try.
Does the committee have any further questions? If so, then what are the wishes of the committee?
Make a motion to approve. Yeah.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, we have some informational items. The 2019 Bond Construction Program update regarding demolition of the former Salinas Elementary School structure and facilities. Mr. Alanis?
Yes, good evening. We, for this informational item, the report is the administration presents abatement consulting services to be conducted by Terracon Consultants Incorporated and engineering survey and design services conducted by RSCR Structural Engineering required for the demolition of the former campus structure and facilities. The rationale is that the demolition of a state facility structure must comply with local and state ordinances, rules and regulations requiring engineering and design services by licensed professional engineers ensuring safety and health of the general public.
Now, this will be coming out of the line item for Salinas Replacement Elementary School. It's in the financial report, so that's where these funds are coming from. It's an approved bond project.
So this is the first step, just
That's correct.
This is not, there's no construction going on.
There's no
This is
construction.
for-
Actually, what we have to do is, we have that Abatement Consulting Services, and then the RSCR is to basically design the demolition
Right.
of the structure.
Well, the preliminary phase for the structural engineer would be, basically, is to, his participation in the concept, conferences, to prepare the engineering survey to include conditional structural framing, coordinate with other design professionals, including the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineers and civil consultants to include utility assessment, provide a written report to the district. He's also, during the design phase, to provide written design services, to develop plans and specs to demolish and remove all structures, building envelope, parking lot, and dry pavement, and all existing utility lines up to 3 feet below grade. Develop plans, provide temporary utilities for demolition activities. Include plans prepared by the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing and civil consultants. Coordinate with the district abatement consultant, Terracon, to prepare the cost estimate, provide coordination prints. And as part of the construction phase, is to make periodic observations of the work, provide reports of observation made with sufficient detail to allow the owner to be currently appraised of the progress and daily work.
And
Coordinate-
all, excuse me, and all this is so that you can get a permit. I mean, this is,
These are steps, yes,
you have
required.
to do this in order to present
Yes,
to
sir.
get your permit.
Exactly. So we want to ensure that, that the demolition of the project is done safely in accordance with all rules and regs.
How much was allocated for Salinas Elementary, Mr. Z?
13 million?
13,886,000. That was the initial budget for that project.
Where is it? Remind me where Salinas Elementary is?
Century City, as you go into Century City, you keep going back there, and that's the first campus that you T to.
Oh, that's right.
As part of the abatement phase of the project, Mr. Menchaca will explain a few items.
Good evening. The structure, Salinas Elementary, has gone ahead and it has been surveyed already, and it did go ahead and test positive in some areas for asbestos. So this being the case, that is one of the reasons why you'll notice that there's two engineering services that we're requesting. The first one is the Terracon Consultant, and the reason for that is that they would be going ahead and doing the coordination during the abatement process. So that is one of the issues that we're bringing up forward here is the fact that we would have to go ahead and, in order to do the abatement process, RSCR is the one's going to actually go ahead and develop the chronological steps that have to be taken in order to not go ahead and put, while we're doing the abatement, that we will not go ahead and put anyone in harm's way. So first we have to go ahead and do the abatement. After that, then we will go ahead and start demolishing.
So you already did testing and they already found out that you had, I get VCT tile or mastic or whatever on the windows, right?
Predominantly mastic on where we have on the walls, on the exterior walls between the veneer brick and the actual wall itself. Fortunately, there was no lead or heavy metals detected during the survey.
So let me ask you, I mean, this engineering firm, Terracon, is charging you $91,000 to oversee the abatement process?
No, it's not only overseas, so they will be going ahead and doing air monitoring throughout the whole abatement process, and it is estimated to take around 60 days. That's 60 days to go ahead and to be able to accomplish all of this abatement.
That's just for that. Now, RSCR is designing the, I guess, abatement plan to be able to remove?
No, sir, the abatement plan, that was part of the, Terracon also developed the abatement procedure that has to be followed.
That's
So-
what I wanted to know.
So in this case, they developed the abatement procedure and they will be ensuring that it is followed to the letter, sir.
Yes, yes, okay.
RSCR is to basically develop the demolition plan.
Yes, it's a sequence of, you
Yeah.
want to call it on construction.
Yeah, so Terracon is really the firm that is gonna be in charge of, I guess, getting the abatement out.
That is correct,
So
sir.
they'll hire contractors or employees or whatever. under them.
They will assist us also in identifying the suitable contractors to perform the
Yeah,
abatements.
yeah. And then, let me see if I understand this. RSCR then is gonna be doing your, I guess, design work after that for this school, for some of it?
For the, they will be doing the design work and the sequence to follow to perform the demolishing of the facility and the removal of the utilities also.
Okay, I got you. I got it straight now, that's it.
Thank you.
Just a quick question, this is a lump sum, right? Lump sum type of contracts, do you get?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Thank you. The current bond project status report, Mr. Alanis?
Okay.
There's
No, no, actually, the information items.
It was
It's
information.
already done.
Yeah, moving on to the current bond project status report. I'll be presenting on the elementary school number 31, on the middle school number 12, and Mr. Menchaca will report on the Elias Herrera Middle School Gym HVAC system replacement project. Starting with elementary school number 31. Construction progress to date is 72% complete. No days of extension have been requested, and contractual completion date is August of 2021. This is a general overview of the progress. In general, the metal roof panel installation and installation is in progress. Continuous metal gutters, downspouts, and brick surroundings installation is ongoing. Plumbing fixtures installation at the restrooms are also being put in place, and CMU wall painting is ongoing throughout. The exterior site work continues. Earth moving, all surrounding areas in progress. In Area A, as you can refer to the bottom legend on the bottom of the page, the legend of the building, we got mostly administrative area and classrooms. There's canopy work in progress. Area B, the metal roof panel installation is in progress. In Area C, which is the kitchen area, equipment installation is ongoing. The freezer installation has been completed as well. In Area D, which is the gymnasium area, the metal roof panel installations and installation is completed. And in the courtyard, the perimeter sidewalk work is ongoing, and the paving work is also underway. And I have supporting photos of all the work in place, interior and exterior.
This, let me ask you, Nachin, I don't know if I got it right. This school is projected to be coming online when? 21?
2021, that's correct.
So the construction should be finished, I guess, about middle of 2020, more or less, if you're 72.
It should be.
Yeah, okay.
That wouldn't be enough time to open it in August of 2020.
No.
It'd be rushed.
Is there, the construction of the school is it independent of, because I know that they refer to the codes. From what I understand, that project is put on hold until who knows when. This school has nothing to do with the development of that?
No.
Okay, so this is, whether that development goes through or not.
Right. Yeah. We pretty much have an idea of which students will be going to that campus, in which areas will be, and more than likely busing. Most of the students should be eligible for busing because they have to cross the loop and so on, so. But we already have an idea of which students will be going there.
This is to help alleviate overcrowding at which school? Which schools?
Colonel?
All of them.
I'm gonna say, right, and the one that really deals with that is support services, but I believe it's Colonel, would be one of them. Believe maybe even San Isidro would be another one, because San Isidro's gonna continue to grow, because all that development's in that area. So mainly those two schools.
Okay, going on to the second project, currently under construction. Is the middle school number 12 at Cuatro Vientos subdivision. Here's a pretty much an aerial view or a site plan, location map of where the school is located or the property is located. And this is a schematic of the building laid out on the property. And as you can see in some of the photos here, that the northwest corner view from Cuatro Vientos Road, clearing and grubbing is complete, rough grading is in progress, and the silt fence and erosion control measures are in place. And we're basically at the site work phase right now. So you can see the whole site has been cleared. And
Actually, let me ask you a quick question on that. The elevations from that storage tank down, they're pretty steep. So how are you going to kind of control, I guess, any kind of a heavy rain or runoff or whatever coming back down?
Go to the software.
Are you gonna elevate the school pads and then just kind of drain around it? Is that
yeah,
the plan?
actually, there will be like a retaining wall up along the corner. It's like a 45-foot drop.
It is.
So right up,
Wow.
right at that high point, the school will be at the lower point or midpoint of the
Yeah.
site. But we will have the loop that wraps around the campus with a retaining wall up along that section of the high point.
Yeah, because I did see that that's a very, very steep drop, and I said, man, that's gonna be a lot of water. I mean, it'll rain later, but when you get those 4 or 5 inch downpours,
Yeah.
it's gonna go down into that whole site down there.
Yes.
And I think that's the only thing that I envision, that we really need to engineer that sucker,
Yeah.
to get the water out.
We'll have a detention.
To hold it and then just kind of put it in detention.
Yeah, the northwest
Coming off
corner,
of
of
that
the
detention.
northwest corner of the site will have a detention pond, so that's where everything
Okay.
should be. Any questions? Any more questions? All right, the next item is the HVAC upgrade.
I got one more question before you move on.
Okay.
Bianca Road, we had a lot of discussion on that at PNC. What's gonna happen to Bianca Road? I mean, is it gonna ever punch out or not, or what?
Talk to the developer. First of all, I think they're changing the name of it, right?
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, we don't know what it is officially now,
Yeah.
but,
I mean, the master plan did show that for the developers, so eventually.
Yeah, well,
But really beyond.
it's just gonna take a long time for him to develop that whole area. Yeah. I know we had a lot of struggle with that. We said, man, we need that to punch out when that school goes on.
right.
But like you said, there's not a whole lot of ways you can enforce it.
I think once that area gets developed, like what happened in United South now, they call it Alanievas,
Yeah.
once it was developed, it got pushed out there.
Yeah.
There may be a convenience store or something that would trigger that.
And that's very true.
Yeah.
Once he sees the volume of cars, it's gonna be very attractive to connect.
Okay.
Good afternoon again.
You got the master plan.
My presentation is going to be very brief. It's just an update on, in this case, 8800 McPherson, the gym HVAC upgrading. The project right now stands at about 10% progress. And basically, it will substantial completion is set for April of 2020. And you'll notice on the slides that we have, this is the area of where that it's going to be servicing, which is in this case is the gym. It's 2 units that are being replaced, and the next one shows and this this was basically what I was presented last time, that we have the north side duct has been removed. And following picture, which is the supply duct, you'll still see that the supply duct for the south side still remains. That is That is on purpose. The main reason for this is that we want to make sure that we have one of the units still working to ensure that we are controlling temperature and humidity so we are not affecting the floor. And then on the next subsequent picture you have right there is that we have received already the ductwork for the north side supply duct. So that is what is actually going on right now. We're preparing all the north side duct work for the supply for that unit. And both of these packaged units are scheduled to arrive toward the latter part of this month. So we should be seeing, hopefully on the next presentation, a further progress on this project. Any questions?
The time to complete this HVAC upgrade is
April 2020.
April 2020.
Thank you.
4 months. The bond program financial report, Mrs. Benavides.
Good evening, members of the Bond Oversight Committee. Compared to what I usually do in this report, I kind of compare, compared to where we were the last time we met with you. And really, there wasn't that much activity, but there is, the staff continues to close what we called open purchase orders on projects that have been finalized, And so now we're gonna start seeing cleaner balances. Probably what's pending right now is towards the end, towards the bottom, Mr. Z, is where last month you all did approve $970,000 to come from interest income. And that will eventually appear right here. This is the amount that we truly have committed from interest income. Sam was sharing with me right now. We have recognized over 3.7 million in interest income, and we do have already invested in three CDs, and you know how safe and secure those types of investments are. That within the next, I guess, 18 months, a year, we will earn the additional interest. And so then you'll see tonight's action appear under here for the JOC at 8800 McPherson. And I know everybody, in hindsight, what we should have done, and to tell you the truth, I think we had done it in the previous bond election. Whenever we renovate an old building, it takes a lot of money. And so in hindsight, knowing that we wanted to convert that building to continue using it as a campus, we probably should have asked the bond citizens group for some money for that campus. Because I think, you know, especially people who work with construction, you know, that it is very expensive to mediate a building. So many issues, roofs, HVAC systems, plumbing, etc. You saw the list, and it was expensive. So we do approve, or we do appreciate you supporting this. To be able to get it from interest income, I think it saves our taxpayers money as well, and it does save our general fund as well. We'll use the general fund to equip and buy school furniture for that school. I mean, because it is a plus middle school to our district. We're gonna buy new technology for the administrative offices, library books. The band hall, it looks beautiful. I don't know if y'all were ever in band there. But it's really starting to look nice. But everything that's gonna have to go into that building is actually coming from our general fund. So at least using this money from interest income and the bond for these type of expenditures, I think, is suitable to, I think, what the bond community would expect.
Again, you know, interest income isn't, you don't pay that back. However, these are the type of projects that would probably qualify under a bond program because they're long-term, they're 25, 30-year projects. So it's the same type of project that we bring to you in order to fund these. Now, we're going to continue fixing up things here and there for the next 2 or 3 years, I'm sure. Because, again, as Lila says, it was built in 1984, 86. Opened 84, so it's old. They got a lot of use. And again, when it gets back to the furniture and stuff that Lila was just mentioning, That middle school is probably gonna open up with an enrollment of about 1,100 kids, 1,100 kids, so it's gonna be a large middle school.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of furniture, a lot of equipment we're gonna have to buy, so.
So we are, the boundaries will come from a mixture of the existing Trotman Middle School, some from United Middle School. And so for the furniture and equipment, we're carefully looking at the population or the technology that will be freed up from portables here at United Middle, from portables at Trotman Middle. We're gonna take the IFPs that we bought with bond money over to that building. Just everything that we can to balance these three schools out as far as technology and other things that we can. So we're carefully looking at that as well.
And this school is gonna feed which high school, United or?
United High School.
100% United High School.
And Trotman will continue to feed United?
Troutman's gonna feed Alexander.
Alexander.
The current Troutman, which is, I think is gonna drop to 600 enrollment, that's what we saw this morning. That's gonna feed 100% to Alexander, like United Middle School is feeding 100% to Alexander.
So I don't know if you have any questions, so.
Just, on this report, there are projects that have finalized, are done 100%, all paperwork's been submitted, all POs have been paid, whatever.
Yes.
Is there any way those, we could color those? Just, I don't know,
Yeah.
leave black as the ones that are currently active and the ones that are closed out, we can go to a different color? And, for example, if you go to the high schools, excuse me, the ninth grade campuses, all those are done, right?
That's correct, but LBJ is gonna, we're gonna continue keeping that PO open for probably another year or so. Because
Since
there's.
it just
Yeah,
opened.
we just opened it.
Yes.
Okay. So the top three are done.
Should be
Pretty much
pretty
done.
much done, yeah.
And the reason I bring that up is because, if I'm reading this correctly, it came under budget. 95%, 99%, I mean, it's close, but it's under budget.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yes.
Right, all your ninth grade campus, like if you look at them as a whole, and that was the expectation of savings from design costs, since we use the same design. Our ninth grade campuses at this time show that we were 98.9% within the budget,
So if we could, close out those, so we could see what's left on this sheet.
But
Yeah,
like,
we can-
are you saying, and I'm just asking you to understand, like the 1,600,000 that wasn't used already?
Well,
You want to reallocate them somewhere because
Well, you're in the right direction, that's what I'm trying to do. Because we're using the interest, right, but you do have some savings that you could allot to the side, and we can keep a running total of that.
Now, we are gonna try our best to close out all the POs that pertain to those campuses that have been open probably 2 years already.
Oh, and they're still open.
And they're still open. That's why you see them.
Go to the following page, and then you'll be able to see, like, take for instance, there's United High School, ninth grade, and United South. The column that says encumbrances, you see how there's nothing left in that column, so that's
Those have
telling
been
us
closed
that
out.
everything's been closed out, all vendors paid, all the contracts with Line Decker paid out, engineering services. So you see Alexander does have a small purchase order open in furniture and equipment, and Courtney's having her staff, look at that. Then you see LBJ High School, who just opened a couple of months ago. There is quite a bit of purchase orders still open, so eventually as we're going through the months, you'll see that number go down. So it is always moving, but that's a good way to check which projects are truly closed in our eyes, right?
But they're closed, but they're still open. At the same time, some POs, you never know something that might come up.
These ones are open. All the other two, United ninth grade, United High School ninth grade, and United South ninth grade, they're completely closed out.
So I would change out the color on those,
Exactly.
not necessarily
That's
the Alexander, because they still have something pending.
I mean, we could probably gray out and say those are closed or something,
Sure.
open and closed.
Yeah, we'll come up with something to easily identify those that are.
And then,
Finish
following with, Mr. Uribe said that we could take the monies that we've saved
A total.
and another column and keep that running. Simply because, we're hitting the interest, and I know we don't want to touch that money because there's other areas that we
There's
have to
still
hit.
some
But
buildings to be made and just, like pointed out on that middle school site, about the elevation. We're hoping it comes within budget, but we may have to hit some of the new campus budgets to get that school up and going. It's scary.
We'll come up with something to make it easier to identify, maybe move it to unallocated bond proceeds or something.
You, Freedom Elementary School, you closed it out, and you only used 92%.
Yes.
I mean, not college 93. So, I mean, that's a,
Right,
that's a good job.
That's a
you
good
know.
job right there.
That's a good job, so. And we know that surplus is gonna be probably used somewhere else, but at least you could say, you know, we hit budget on that, or came under budget. That make sense?
Yes.
Just to give Sam something to do.
You heard that, Sam, right?
What color, what color do you want?
Picking on the quiet guy.
The straight A student, what are you doing?
Thank you, Lila.
What color would you like your?
Well, Sam on blue.
Is there anything that y'all would like to bring forth to discuss at this time? Okay, then can we set the date for our next committee meeting, or will you notify us as
Yes, we're probably better off if we notify you, because I think this is pretty much it for right now. I don't see. Yeah, for sure for the year. And, so, but we'll, again, I'll ask you all if you'll be available if something pops up and I determine a meeting date. I'll ask you all first, see if you'd be available, like this one.
Okay. Oh, and in case y'all are wondering why you got a test email, because this is a Google group. The Google group decided to change my email to minidora@gmail, and I have no Gmail account, so I wasn't getting the emails. And I called and I said, did y'all kick me off? My email was wrong.
Okay,
That's so
what it was.
weird.
I didn't know what that was all about.
That was weird.
I thought they were checking yours.
Is there,
That's what I thought.
No,
No, I don't have a
So you
Gmail
got
account.
hacked.
because we
Something.
changed it back to what it should have been, and so I sent out a test to make sure she would get it.
is there any way, when these meetings, when the dates are set for these meetings, that you send it out in the form of an invite to where we can?
So yes or no?
Accept it, because last meeting, honestly, I was at the ranch when Erasmo called, and I told him I forgot, because it didn't pop up on my phone.
I got you.
I mean, I don't know if anybody else has that issue, but.
I can do that.
Yeah.
So you know how to do that, right?
I'll come and.
Not a call. That works even
That
better.
works great,
You know what,
yeah.
that does, yeah.
That works great. Okay, y'all, thank you and Merry
Madam Chair,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. yeah.
Merry
Happy holidays to
Christmas.
all of you.
We're
Thank you very
adjourned.
much. Appreciate
We're
it.
adjourned.